The 4 Bodhisattva vows are the most direct path to awakening. They're fundamental to Mahayana Buddhism and Zen. The first of these vows is, beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Beings are numberless. I vow to save all of them. And when we talk about beings, we're not just saying human beings. Right now on this planet there are 7 billion human beings approximately. That's a lot of beings already. But we're also talking about all species. Ants, insects, worms, animals, birds, reptiles, all living beings. And more than that, we're talking about plants, trees, flowers, grass. We're talking about minerals, rocks, mountains. We're talking about the ocean, rivers, rain. We're talking about the sun and the earth itself. All beings. We're talking about all beings in the infinite cosmos. We're talking about all beings that are formless as well. So all beings are truly numberless. Vast, vast, infinite numbers of beings. And we vow to save them all. Every one of them. And this is a very important vow. Yes, to the individual and the unawakened mind, it sounds completely overwhelming, of course. And that expands your consciousness right there. Just to imagine this, to make this vow with your heart, your soul, every bit of your being, makes this vow to save all beings. This is critical. Mostly when we go on a path to awakening, a spiritual path, we want to awaken for ourselves alone. We want to be free of suffering. We want to experience this great peace that comes with awakening, this joy and love. We want to experience this for ourselves. But this can't happen because there is no self. There is no self alone. We are all beings, all these infinite beings. We are not separate from them. We are them. So we cannot awaken by ourselves alone. This is an illusion. And the attempt to do this keeps us from truly awakening. When the Buddha awakened, the first thing he said is, I and all beings are awake. He realized it wasn't Shakyamuni Buddha, the person, that awakened. He realized that there was no Shakyamuni Buddha, that he never was anything separate from all beings. That's the awakened realization that we all come to when we awaken. So this vow already is this awakened consciousness. I vow to save all beings, meaning I vow to bring all beings to awakened consciousness. The next vow of the 4 Bodhisattva vows is, delusions are inexhaustible. Delusions are endless. I vow to end them. And delusions are pointing directly to this idea that I am a separate self, that I am a separate being and there are other beings. This is the delusion that humanity suffers under. This is the cause of all suffering. This idea of a separate self. Only a separate self can suffer. The awakened being, awakening to who we truly are, is the end of this suffering. And it's the end of delusion. So I vow to end all delusions. Yet they may appear and keep appearing over and over, and I continue coming back to reality and ending them. The 3rd Bodhisattva vow is, Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. I vow to enter all of them. Dharma gates are boundless. And when we talk about Dharma gates, we're not just saying the Buddha's teachings and the sutras or other awakened beings' teachings. We're not just talking about this. We're talking about all of life. All of life is teaching us. As Dogen said, when we awaken, the 10,000 things enlighten us. The 10,000 things meaning everything. Everything in this undivided, infinite reality is teaching us continuously, never stopping, because all of it is truth. All of it is awakened nature. All of it is enlightenment. So it's continually teaching us everything in life. The floor that you're standing or sitting on, the ceiling, the walls of your room, the sound of a bird, the feel of air in your skin, the feel of your heart beating and blood rushing through your veins. All of this is teaching you. All of this is reality, is ultimate reality, is enlightenment, and it's all teaching you in every moment. So when we awaken, we open to this continuous teaching, this never-ending teaching of life, continually enlightening us. The fourth Bodhisattva vow is the Buddha way is unsurpassable, unattainable. I vow to be it. The Buddha way, the way of enlightenment, is unsurpassable. It's unattainable, and yet I vow to be it. It's unattainable because the individual person, the illusion of the separate I, cannot attain it. It's the end of this illusion of the separate I. That is the attainment. So it cannot be attained by a person, and yet it is the fundamental reality of all life. We already are it. Everything already is it. The floor, the walls are it. A worm, an ant, the birds, animals, the sun, all of it is this. All of it already is this enlightened nature, the truth of life. The first of these Bodhisattva vows, in many ways, is the most important. We have to give up this idea of self-serving, this idea that I want to awaken for myself, I want to be happy for myself, I want to be at peace for myself. Because this cannot be. We are not separate from anything. Peace is not an individual matter. Happiness is not an individual matter. Awakening is not an individual matter, because there is no individual. When we open to this reality that we are everything, that we are not separate from any being, from anything, it's all this one undivided reality, which is what we are. We have this great peace, this happiness, and all beings do. This is the nature of all beings. This is the true nature of ourself and all beings, and we are not separate from any of it. So this Bodhisattva vow expresses this already when we say, beings are numberless, I vow to save them. Already we're expressing the enlightened nature of what we are. We're giving up this self-centered focus of I, me, mine, and opening to the reality of this allness, this infinite, undivided totality of what we truly are. So the Bodhisattva vow itself is awakening. Itself is awakened consciousness. And as we open to it more and more fully, as we make this vow with every fiber of our being, as we open to this fully and embody this fully, awakening comes from this. We realize that we are already this. We always have been this. The Buddha's way, the way of enlightenment, is unattainable. I vow to be it. I vow to realize that I am it, that I always have been it. I vow to save all beings, because there are no beings to save, and there is no being to save them. There is only this undivided reality, And in that realization, all beings are saved. This is a wonderful vow, a wonderful practice. The Bodhisattva vow is more than just a vow. It's a practice, a direct practice of reality. I hope you take advantage of this, my friend. It's a very advanced teaching pointing directly at reality.